While gold keeps climbing to new all-time highs, slump, the dollar is sinking ever deeper into ruin. And Bitcoin seems to be slowly but surely recovering. Still, we're not out of the woods yet because today the Fed's interest rate decision is also on the agenda. Let's take a look now at everything you need to know for today so that you're well prepared. And with that, welcome to a new crypto update video. Yes, Bitcoin at 89,200 US dollars, our CME gap is filled. Yay, finally we can go back down again. Well, not necessarily, but as I just said, the dollar keeps dropping. Our USD JPY trade is going great. Intervention might be happening or maybe not. The Fed continues to buy yen to weaken its own currency in order to strengthen the yen so that the whole carry trade doesn't implode or the whole situation in Japan. Things are really burning on all sides, otherwise gold wouldn't be rising toward $5,260 and silver is already back at $115. It's truly unbelievable. And yes, the altcoins are also moving up a bit and crypto in general is also slightly up. We'll take a calm look at all of this. But before we get started, as always, feel free to give the video a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And of course, feel free to join the free Telegram talk and signal group. If you're interested in updates, news, and signals, you're welcome to join. You'll find the link for it for free down in the video description. And also, if you're still looking for an exchange where you can basically trade everything we discuss here, whether it's crypto, forex, stocks, and so on, you can do all of that with my partner, Exchange BingX. The link for that is also down in the video description. At the moment, you can get up to 11,500 USDT in bonuses if you sign up and complete a few tasks. So let's get started. Bitcoin at 89,200 US dollars. The funding rates, just to get that out of the way, are still at a relatively high level, or let's say at a normal level. Bitcoin is rising and has now filled the CME gap. That's also a good sign, as it means we don't have any obstacles there for now. But I think the main thing people are focusing on today is ultimately the Fed's interest rate decision. It should really be obvious to everyone that we won't be getting a rate cut. So we just have to look at the FedWatch tool and we can see that 97% expect the interest rates to stay the same. In my opinion, Powell's speech will be much more important. If he's hawkish, I think we have a big problem. Gold keeps climbing higher and higher, and that's even though the dollar has actually been pretty stable. Now, you could say the dollar is slumping. Basically, the dollar is dumping. Now gold is rising. Okay, that makes sense because in the end, the currency is being devalued. As a result, gold can rise again. So if Powell keeps interest rates the same now and does so for, let's say, the next 4 to 6 months, gold should actually experience a pullback. Unless the dollar keeps falling because Trump, if we take a quick look at Bloomberg, where is it? Where did I find the news here? Ah, here it is. Stocks gain before Fed decision, dollar steadies. And that has more to do with the fact that the Trump administration is taking KQ-related risk, said Winfin, chief economist of Bank of Nassau. Foreign exchange is typically the leader when it comes to showing market discomfort with world countries' policies and economic outlook, so this weakening of the dollar is something to keep an eye on. Yesterday, Trump said, or rather he answered the question whether he was at all concerned that the dollar has dropped so much. And he just replied very matter-of-factly, no, everything is going well, the dollar is great. And that was his answer to it. So right now, everyone is watching the dollar. Everyone is watching gold, silver, commodities, precious metals. That is, well, personally, it gives me something to think about, especially when we see things like what I already mentioned yesterday in the live stream. Japanese Prime Minister Sani Takashi kicks off her election campaign with an overriding goal: get past the February 8th vote without the markets blowing up. So she wants to be elected and hopes that until February 8th, the markets won't implode. Now, that's a cool campaign slogan. I said exactly the same thing yesterday in the live stream. That could just as well come from German politicians. Just saying, by the way. But anyway, that's another topic. Nothing is calming down at all. So we still don't have anything regarding the USA and Iran. Now the dollar is currently falling into worthlessness, or rather into something better, bottomless. Crypto can benefit a bit from this, of course, because crypto now cares less, or rather Bitcoin cares less. Everything that needs to perform well against the US dollar has to be doing well right now. The question is, how much longer can this go on? If the whole market, somehow because of the whole Japan situation, because of the weak dollar, if the markets are fleeing from their, let's say, safe haven, and that includes US stocks to some extent, and today we also have Tesla earnings, Microsoft, and something else also has earnings today. So as you can see, everything is coming at us all at once today. Big earnings, so after hours earnings, then the whole issue with the weak dollar, then of course the whole Japan situation. We don't know what's currently happening in Iran. Yesterday Trump said, make Iraq. So not Iran, but Iraq. Great again. The guy probably wants to paralyze the entire Middle East if things keep going this way. But anyway, that's another topic. Maybe we'll talk about that another time. Bitcoin, as I said, my view on it hasn't really changed. If we take a quick look at the heat map, we see liquidity up to about 91,300 US dollars. There's still quite a bit of liquidity there. And that's about it. Otherwise, the heat map is relatively empty, or actually completely empty now at this point. We can also move up a time frame to the monthly chart to take a look at the whole thing. Let's remove the small orders here again. We can also see that there's not much left to the upside. Instead, most of it is still below us, and that's why I continue to stick with my view. Let's go one level lower again. One positive thing, or rather something I was complaining about a bit on the live stream yesterday, is that the bids and offers have been very, very low in the past few days. Now we've seen a slight increase again, heading towards, let's say, just under 89,500 US dollars, and immediately there was massive spot selling again. For days we had always around 20 million, 30 million. And now overnight it started up again with 60 million orders that were simply sold as spot market orders on Bitcoin. So as soon as the price moves in the indicated direction, there's even massive selling again. And that surprised me a bit. Now, even when the prices drop again, there is massive selling again. So for me, that's more of a sign that, okay, this isn't good. As soon as we go up slightly by $1,000 or $2,000, there is immediately massive selling again. That's not what we actually want to see. All right, let's wait and see what happens over the course of the day. Otherwise, let's move on to the altcoins. Ethereum at this point, $3,000. Yesterday, we briefly climbed towards $3,030 again. It's still not great, to be honest, because liquidity was pumped above it again, then closed below it, and volume is down. So to me, that just doesn't look sustainable either. Solana, yes, we've definitely mapped out the path here. We could consider whether to open a new short position up here in this area. But at the moment, there's just way, way too little movement here. So here with Solana as well, there was a brief dip at the bottom where the liquidity was, as you can see quite clearly here. But that also means there are a lot of long positions down here. The market is pumping upwards, but at the moment, it still can't reach a new high. For me, that's just not sustainable right now. The uncertainties are still just way, way too big for that. Yeah, speaking of safe haven, gold at $5,250 or even $5,270 at its peak. Unbelievable. Silver, yesterday I even said it in the live stream, stop shorting this thing. Now it's at $114. It really is unbelievable what kind of risk-off market we're in right now. And I wonder how much longer this can keep going well. Because normally, as I said, if there were rate cuts, the markets, that is the dollar, should get weaker and gold and silver should rise. But we are absolutely in a risk-off market right now. The sentiment is so risk-off that the markets are just pricing in uncertainty. And we can see that everywhere. Whether it's gold, silver, or commodities, just look at the US dollar, which was in free fall yesterday, dropping as low as 95.5 at its lowest point. At the same time, that's obviously great for our USD JPY carry trade that we started here, because from our entry point, it's been up as much as 3.5% at its peak. That's exactly how this trade should run. That's exactly what I had in mind. But the dollar slumped downward like that. That was not what I expected. At the same time, the euro as a safe haven is breaking through up here. We talked about this, the 1.20 mark, almost 1.21. It will keep rising as long as this whole carry trade situation isn't off the table yet. Speaking of carry trade, where are interest rates at the moment? They're dropping slightly again in Japan. What do US interest rates look like? They're still stable. That's not a good sign. As soon as we really see a slump in Japan, a real drop downwards, then I'll say, okay, the carry trade is unwound. Then the crypto markets can reset a bit. Gold will pull back. Well, just pull back. And then we might finally be able to look forward to entry prices. At the moment, in my opinion, we're still a bit away from that. Oil is still pumping too. Uncertainty, times of crisis, what pumps? Commodities, oil, usually that's the case. Traditional markets, the Dow Jones didn't manage to set a new all-time high. The Nasdaq did, but look at that. What have I been talking about for weeks? The volume has gone down again. So even there, I'm not convinced that this rally will just keep going for a long time. S&P 500 set a new all-time high. Again, a quick look at the volume here. The volume isn't really above average. Not what I want to see. Russell, pretty boring. The volatility index is slowly but surely starting to move. Speaking of the volatility index, the largest short positions are currently held by the commercials, but in the background, it's the hedge funds. So they've now started a really large long exposure. So definitely keep a very close eye on that. Whenever we have seen the VIX market positioning reach levels this exceptionally low, For example, August 24th, after that, things went significantly higher. Or here, COVID was, of course, a special exception. But whenever we've been in these areas, sooner or later, there was a move. Just be careful. I don't trust the market at all right now, not even a little. There's just way too much uncertainty. I'm telling you honestly. Let's see what Powell says tonight, whether he'll completely crash the markets, and of course the earnings, but let's just wait and see. Feel free to share your opinion in the comments below. That's it from my side in any case. Thank you for watching. We'll hear from each other again tomorrow. Until then, bye, and as always, stay creepy.